say anything, yes, I know people have already made like 500 videos saying Incredibles 2 was disappointing. And do I have that same opinion? Yes and no. Let me explain. Incredibles 2 looks way better than the first Incredibles. The first Incredibles came out 14 years ago, so it looks pretty good. Like, if you watch the first one, no offense, the movie looks kind of uncanny valley at some point. Also, the movie's a little more comedic than the first one. The first Incredibles did have comedic scenes, but I feel like this movie was a little more comedic and a little bit softer with its tones, which sometimes could kind of hurt the film, I'm just saying. But I know some people like it, but I feel like sometimes this really did affect the film, which I will get to later. Really good, and some of the action scenes are, but you know, I forgot to edit that part in, so let's just leave it right here. And like when Jack fights the little raccoon, which is, you know, really adorable. And then when Mrs. Incredible fought the screensaver in that seizure-inducing room, which I thought that was really cool and kind of creepy. But I think a lot of people are forgetting these two scenes where I thought were really cool and interesting. I just wanted to just mention those really cool ones, so you know. More powers than Thanos. Like no joke, he might actually do. Someone put in the comments below, does he have more power than Thanos? Let's put that in the comments. Who will win, Thanos versus Jack? It's a weird subplot with Tony Ridinger. You know, she didn't really have a really big plot in the first Incredibles, so I really liked her in this one. And then, you know, that water scene would have been funny. I mean, I thought she was alright, but you know, the audience ate her up, so you know. I seem to forget to mention the deep philosophy talks they had in this movie. Now, these are some really great scenes in the movie that people seem to forgot. And while in this video, I seem to forgot too, so I had to randomly throw this part in. I thought this was a really interesting concept, or just really interesting in a kids movie, how they talk about philosophy and, you know, marketing and, yeah. Well, one of the philosophy talks was marketing, but like how Evelyn and Elastigirl had two different philosophies, and they bounced off each other, but they were still friends. You could tell that they would bounce off each other, sort of like Batman and Joker. That's a good comparison, but I just thought it was an interesting philosophy talk, because I've never had certain people, or even in kids movies, like, I mean, you've had philosophy talks like a hero and a villain having talked about their philosophies and their beliefs, maybe like Batman and Joker, but never like in a kids movie like this. I thought it was just really interesting to have this in a kids movie. So yeah, this is randomly edited in. Just ignore everything else. I'm really good at editing, right, guys? I know. Let me get to why everybody watched this video. Incredibles 2 was disappointing. Why? I feel like a lot of reasons why, because it flopped with a lot of the movie's characters and just all its overtones and world building. The first Incredibles was a dark movie, you know, like there was one scene in Helms about, you know, the criminals would kill them, and there was a lot of just dark undertones in this movie. And I feel like this movie really didn't handle that. Like, this movie was a little more lighthearted, which some people I can see liked it, because, you know, it's more of a kids movie, it was more funner. But the first Incredibles was a little more serious and a little more, the villain was a little more threatening in that one. This movie is a little more lighthearted and a little more kiddie-ish, which I have no problem with. But I feel like it was really lackluster with its world building, because it broke a lot of world building with this, like how some of the heroes looked. Like, I didn't like some designs, and some of the characters acted in this movie were just like, you know how Dash acted kind of like a villain in some scenes. I didn't really like that, and just how Bob had a completely 180, which I do understand why. And I like Bob and Helen's side plot, but the other characters, I feel like really didn't do that well. Like, the biggest one is Dash. But I feel like everyone else did good. It's basically Bob going through a midlife crisis. And I feel like this was really interesting. And if they do a Mrs. Incredible, I feel like that would have been really interesting for Incredibles 2. At some points, I feel like they did kind of do it with her story plot, but at the same time, they really didn't do anything interesting with her, you know. But I just feel like it was really lackluster, because the first Incredibles was just an interesting concept, and, you know, it was a bleak, dark world with no heroes, and I feel like it completely had a 180, and you know what, I'd be alright if it, like, you know, it was a couple years, you know, superheroes not illegal again, but no, the Incredibles 2 happens moments later after the first Incredibles, which it made no sense. I didn't really like that. I know I'm looking too deep in this, but I really do like the Incredibles lore. Like, I really do like some of the stuff and some of the backstories behind the characters. But still, I feel like it could have done way much more with the character, and I'm really kind of sad with this. Like, look at this. With the first Incredibles, it had a lot of, you know, hidden meanings, which I wouldn't say hidden meanings, but more adult undertones behind it. And I feel like the second Incredibles 2 really didn't have that. It was a little more kiddish, which, no problem with that, but I felt it was kind of disappointing. And that's why people are disappointed with it, you know. was done on purpose, but I feel like all the new heroes that are introduced were kind of annoying. I don't know, were, you know, supposed to be annoying on purpose or supposed to be obnoxious on purpose. I kind of felt so. I didn't really like most of them, which I'll get to the next one, the only one I really liked in a few seconds, but I feel like they were kind of done to be annoying on purpose, or, you know, they're mostly there to be the conflict for the end of the movie, which is kind of all they really were. Get annoying at sometimes, which you can tell in the movie that she's basically Buddy, but, you know, not treated like crap. But I thought Void was alright, besides the other heroes. To mention, I didn't really like the villain, you know, the screen slaver, or just its whole entire ideology. You know, people are getting too reliable with technology, which I felt like in the Incredibles universe, people didn't use technology that much, and I think it just kind of was a letdown to have such a great villain, the Syndrome, that we had a villain like this. Like, Screenslaver still wasn't that bad as a villain, like, you know, but I feel like it still was a big letdown, and I just felt like I could do way much more with her, and I feel like, you know, it was kind of obvious. It was gonna be Devin Winston, or his sister, because, you know, those were just new characters, and I feel like that was really obvious, and I think they're trying to make it obvious on purpose, or not, which I was kind of confused with, and I feel like that was kind of disappointing. They could do something new with it, which at the same time, that's what kind of felt like it. It kind of babied it down a little bit, you know. Wrong. This might be a little pet peeve, but I want to see more of the glory days with some of the superheroes in the second Incredibles. This might be a little pet peeve, but these are kind of my favorite scenes in the movie, just to see their backstory, because, you know, I really do like the Incredibles. And I really do like some of the backstory of the characters, and I'm incredibly disappointed they didn't focus more on some of the other characters' backstories, like Frozone or something. I know it's a pet peeve, but still, I want to see more of the Incredibles universe and just some of the lore with other characters. I shouldn't have made a 1-minute tangent about that. What am I, Mr. Intern? I probably am. If you guys are still on some Incredibles hype, I suggest watching The Adventures of Mr. Incredible with character commentary, and it's absolutely amazing.
What's this? Is that me?
What?
I'm white. They made me a white guy?
You're blackish.
They made me a white guy.
Maybe the prints faded. You're tan.
That's powerful goodness.
Ish?
But isn't that
a grown man screaming over a kid's cartoon, which you're not wrong. But 14 years, and, like, to be honest with you, it wasn't going to be disappointing from the first start. People were waiting 14 years. People were going to be disappointed in the first place. People were getting disappointed with Star Wars because we went, like, almost 20 years, almost 2 decades. Well, not almost 2 decades, but we had another decade. People were so disappointing in Star Wars movies. People don't like the prequels and everything. And, you know, it's just how everything goes. People always get disappointed in sequels that take a long time. And at the same time, I understand. But I feel like they could have did way much more with this movie. At the same time, I didn't think it was that bad. There was problems with it, but I still feel like it was an enjoyable movie for what it was. And yeah, but I still feel like there was a lot of problems with it. Like, I feel like some of the voice actors, you can tell that Bob's a little too old, and so is for Mrs. Incredible. I feel like, I know they have a new kid voicing Dash, which he did good too, but you can tell some of the voice actors don't sound that good anymore. And also, where's the love for my man Frozone? He didn't get a lot of scenes in this movie, only like towards the end. I thought he'd been more in this movie, or at least, you know, show Honey or something. I thought there was a lot of theories about showing Honey, which I thought was funny. If you guys don't know who Honey is, that's the super suit meme, you know, from the original movie. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.